Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the next episode of the Emergence Show, where we talk about the latest and greatest of emerging tech and immersive experiences. Today's episode is about how brands can tap into the vibrant communities of gaming. Whether you're looking at it as a brand activation in a silo, immersive experience, and bringing the players and gamers communities, or you want to tap into an existing gaming platform. We're going to talk about various steps and methods that you can get into this ways of engagement, because we're seeing more and more engagement through traditional social media ads not being as helpful and kind of feeling saturated. So we have to find new ways to interact with the audience, and especially if you're targeting younger generations are already spending a lot of their time on these gaming platforms. So creating experiences that are more natural to this audience, whether in the platforms that they're currently gaming or platforms that use similar technologies that they're used to, they all can be useful to attract and serve this audience. So I am Nico Farah. I'm a creative technologist, and I work in the intersection of retail and spatial computing and AI. My co-host, Philip, he is a developer, an avid gamer. He works predominantly with Unreal Engine, which is one of the highest quality game engines. And he also has developed various AI tools more specific to fashion. We're representing the Fashion DAO and Chief Metaverse Officer today, and we're excited to dive into this great topic. Before that, I would like to share with you a couple of links that you can kind of stay in touch with everything that we are working on, and latest and greatest in spatial computing and AI intersecting with the retail and fashion spaces specifically. So I'm putting the links in the chat for you guys to subscribe to our newsletters. And we do this show every week on Tuesdays. So make sure that you follow us to get these episodes. And we are going to spend almost the whole month of March on the gaming space. This is such a fascinating topic, whether you are looking at the gaming industry as a whole, or you're looking at platforms or metaverses, spatial computing platforms that kind of use gaming as a tool. And so we're going to have guests that have worked these virtual world companies as executives. We are going to have guests that has been creating for this game platforms and virtual worlds. And then I will be attending Game Development Conference in March, and I will be reporting live from that amazing conference that is happening. And so we're going to share with you a lot of cool updates and information and insights from people that are hands-on building and growing in these platforms. So when you think about doing the brand activation in a platform of gaming, and there are different steps that you have to take on. And I believe first it starts with your defining your KPIs. And I'm going to talk about the steps on high level first, and then we go deeper into all of these. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments section, and we will definitely address them. So starting with the KPIs, you want to really understand what the goal of your campaign is. Are you looking to create user engagement from new users, or you want to increase the engagement of your existing audience? Are you looking to increase your brand awareness? That's almost always a case. And then are you looking to have direct sales, or you're not too concerned about sales and more focused on brand awareness? So all of these KPIs are very important to think about, and I believe that should be the first thing you want to consider, because that kind of defines the next steps. The next step is the target audience. So Are you looking to go for the younger generation? Are you going for female? Are you going for male? Like all of that also defines the following steps around finding the platform and defining the story. So with this story, you want to look for kind of like what you want to promote. Is it a new product? Okay, what? So the story is probably more around the product. Is it just a general story around your brand as a whole, the history of the brand, or something specific and unique about your brand? Like we had CeraVe just doing a Super Bowl campaign, and it was all about emphasizing the fact that they are developed by dermatologists or with dermatologists. So depending on what that message is, what that unique selling proposition is, you define your story. And then based on that story and that audience and that goal, then you're going to look at what platform you want to work with. Sometimes people take these steps interchangeably, like you pick the platform first and then define the story that matches the platform. But it really is up to you how you want to go about it, which one is more important to you. If you already know a specific platform that you want to work with, then you can define a story around that. Or you can have a high-level idea of this story and then make it more specific as you choose the platform. Now, when you're looking at the platform, you want to decide whether you want to go with something that is existing, like, existing game platforms with existing audiences, like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Zepeto, or like smaller games that are more niche. So that's one way. The other direction is that you create your own custom immersive experience, but using these game engines, using these game tools, and then inviting gamers that are already familiar with these platforms. So these are two different approaches. And the way I recommend kind of considering this is looking at what are the monetization options that you have, and what are you looking for in terms of, again, going back to your KPIs, what type of promotions you're looking to have, and which one of these platforms are flexible to give you that opportunity. And then you want to think about the type of audience that you want to, again, which one matches them best. And usually you have a lot of limitations with existing platforms. If you pick Fortnite or Roblox, they already have an existing audience, and so you have to kind of mold your story and your campaign around their existing audience and their existing rules and guidelines and technical limitations and everything else that they have, versus creating a custom immersive experience. You're going to have a lot more control. And the other very important factor when making this decision is like the data that you are receiving. Not all of these platforms are going to give you as much data. And so, again, it goes back to like, what are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? Why are you coming from the traditional, these are all questions to think about. Why are you coming from the traditional advertising or, traditional platforms to this? And so, okay, it seems like I had a problem with going live on LinkedIn. Hi guys, if you're just joining us, apparently there was an error with going live on LinkedIn. So today we're talking about immersive experiences in gaming platforms, how brands can integrate within existing gaming platforms or use these game engines to integrate their brand story into an immersive experience. So we talked about briefly how there are different steps that you have to tackle. So, first, I recommend looking at what goals and KPIs that you have. So, kind of what are you trying to accomplish. Then you want to define what your audience is that you want to tackle, and depending on that audience, you want to go and define your story and then your platform. These steps can be moved around depending on what your situation is. Sometimes you're already fixated on a platform and you want to define a story around it, or sometimes you start with the story and then you go find a platform that matches that. So after that, we talked about how the platforms you could be using an existing platform like Roblox or Fortnite, or you could be creating these game engines, existing game engines, to create a silo, immersive, custom experience where you can tie it to your brand, website, or social media and really leverage that to your benefit. And so, hi Chris, thank you for joining us. And yeah, so it's very broad what you can do with all of this. And so again, when thinking about which platform you're using, you want to look at all the limitations they have. And usually when you're creating your custom experience, you have a lot more flexibility. You have a lot more control over your data, and you have a lot more, control over the design and experience. We were actually looking at Fortnite guidelines last week, and I was, kind of surprised how many limitations they have. You are not allowed to promote this way. You're not supposed to use your logo this way. I guess, if you are directly working with Fortnite, probably they're more flexible, but for their creator economy, or anyone outside wanting to work with brands, they have made it really difficult. And so you want to really look at those guidelines and understand what your goals are, and then choose the platform accordingly.
And it's kind of interesting, Nico, because I've been playing games ever since I was a young kid, and only recently I think has this notion of being able to have activations or kind of media engagement or marketing outside of traditional games within the game playing environment has become more prevalent. Fortnite and Minecraft and all these things. But prior to that, if you look at traditional massive multiplayer online games, the game was the game. There was no advertising beyond what was needed to get what the actual brand allowed. I mean, the actual publisher allowed. So it's kind of the new paradigm.
Yeah.
And I think one important thing that we're going to touch on, Nico, as I said, is that the traditional methods of advertisement, perhaps the sports or in other avenues, may have some parallels, but this is a new paradigm in terms of reaching an audience in this traditional space. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, as we dive deeper into it, you will see that it's very similar in social media partnerships and campaigns in some ways, but also in some ways, it is more rigid and more difficult if you want to work with an existing platform than anything that you're used to. And so, again, really understanding what you're getting into in the beginning matters, so you can make the right decisions. And, we are big supporters of creating something that you own and you have control over. We had a conversation with Chris before how a lot of these platforms are, kind of very centralized, and they don't give you as much control. They don't give you as much data. So you want to really understand what you're looking for, and how that matches your values and ethos. And, sometimes creating something custom and personalized that then you can kind of link it to other platforms might be a better idea. So anyways, that is something to think about. And then you want to think about the agency partners. Usually brands don't have internal teams that are well familiar with creating these experiences, or even storytelling in immersive experiences. yes, it is not what they're used to. I mean, it took a long time to get used to social media uh, campaigns, and they're still outsourcing a lot of that, or even advertising in traditional media. And so, again, this is a new world for marketers, and it's very helpful to tap into existing experts in this space because they have the technical and creative prowess that really helps to make a successful campaign.
And also understanding of the audience and gamers, because yes, most people, a lot of people are starting to get more and more into gaming. It is growing very rapidly, and there are more and more users, especially from traditional walks of life. So the stereotype of gamers being young and not having purchasing power is long past. So there's an opportunity, but still, the people who have been in this space, they're, it's valuable to what the experience that they have.
And along the lines of what you mentioned, the gaming industry is makes more than 3 times as much money as the music industry,
Oh yeah,
and almost 4 times as much as the movie industry. So
yeah, I was blown away by those stats, but yeah,
it is no joke,
yeah.
and it's a huge industry and a huge gaming audience that we will talk about more specifically. But so you want to pay attention to it, whether you are a technologist or a brand. Either way, this is the present and the future of marketing. And so, the next step after you picked your agency, you picked your platform, and all of that is about creating activities, because the point of a game is to have these interactive experiences. And even though the game itself has activities designed already, you want to create some custom mini games, mini activities to convey your message, to convey your story. And so that is the next step. And you want to make it platform specific, depending on what they already have.
Yes.
And for doing that, you need to create custom assets, custom avatars. We're talking all 3D for most of these games. And you again need to work with creators that are working in this space. Now, I have published an article about how AI is really helping us to create these assets and these environments, but we're a little bit away from this to actually become mainstream. So until then, we still need 3D designers and different experts that are creating in this space. And within the fashion now, we have really great, talented creators that are building that. And so that goes from creating skins for the avatars, or custom assets, which might be your existing products converted to 3D. And so that's the next step. Then you want to create the environment where all of these stories are going to happen. And this is important to keep in mind, that you want to use it kind of frequently. Like, that's a good investment. I don't recommend creating just a one-off activation. It's better that when you are investing to make or use a platform, to create an environment where you can simply modify it, and depending on a new product that you are introducing or seasonal activations that you have, you can reuse it. So having that evergreen mindset is very helpful.
I think it's important to note here is that gaming is not necessarily a single consumption type of medium, especially multiplayer and online games and things like this, because what keeps people coming back is the engagement. It's both the social, the novelty, and also the new activities that can keep people really engaged with it. That's the whole point of gaming. So if you think about it, if you create an activation or an event that has a gameplay type of system that keeps drawing in your audience, perhaps new ones or even repeated ones, then you could keep having something that's self-sustaining, potentially.
Yes. And again, we go deeper into all of this. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. but it kind of in a high level, these are very important. And then when you have the environment and you have all of those, you want to make sure that you have reward system, because what is gaming without gamification and reward system? So you want to incentivize the users to engage and give you the attention. So that can be through these custom assets that you created, rewarded to them, or it could be tied to your existing IRL loyalty system. We had an activation with Paris Hilton partnership with Hilton Hotels, and how they tied it to the real Hilton reward system. And I played it, and they got all that information in the beginning to make sure that you have that all set up. Then outside the game, you check these boxes. Then you go in and you meet certain requirements. Then you come back, and then you say you did that, and then they kind of make sure that you have participated. So through that process and call to actions, you're basically connecting them to some possibilities of rewards. And that could be some sort of giveaway, it could be a lottery, it could be all sorts of ways that you come up with. But those can be tied to the story and the goals that you had.
Yeah.
Then we want to make sure that we are promoting it. Obviously games have existing players, unless you're doing your type of silo experience. With the silo experience, you're tying it to your existing website, so that's how you can get some foot traffic. Now, if you're tying it to an existing game, the foot traffic comes from them. But either way, it's something new that you're introducing. And you want to make sure that you are doing enough promotion around it, so the existing audience or the existing player base hear about this opportunity and want to be part of it. So there are different ways you can tap into their existing Discord, or different forums or influencers. And so there's so many ways that we will talk more about, but promotion is very essential. Then you want to make sure that you're constantly measuring. If you don't measure, you can't really improve. So these measurements can be inside the game, inside the experience. It could be outside. It could be on your existing website, social media. It could be across the different platforms of the game, forums, Discord. And throughout all of this, you want to measure both quantity and quality of the feedback. And it is helpful to be flexible and iterate through. And especially with this type of experiences, you have the opportunity to make iterations pretty quickly, a lot easier than a physical activation. And so, again, take advantage of this opportunity, because it really helps. It's kind of like, how some movies started with one story and then they kind of changed as they go. Like an example of that, like Gossip Girl, the main characters and the focus of the story changed over time depending on the excitement they got from the audience. So that flexibility is very crucial in this dynamic industry. And so let's dive in more deeper into demographics first. So when you are thinking about the audience that you're defining, you want to think about what type of games or activities they're open to. So if you are going after younger audience, whether that's your existing audience or whether that's an audience that you want to open up your brand to or introduce your brand to, usually the younger ones are into fast-paced competitive games. And a bit older gamers are into strategy or narrative driven. And these are, a little bit generalistic. I know it's not applicable to everyone, and there are exceptions, but that's the general sense. And you want to make sure that the content and the messaging kind of matches that age group that you're going after. The other element is gender. If you are creating something or your brand is targeted around female, you want to go after type of activities that women are usually interested in. So again, generally speaking, mobile and casual gaming are the ones that audience enjoy. And you can also be more inclusive. As you know, in the gaming space, in the gaming industry, we have many non-binaries, and LGBTQ community are very active. And so having inclusive content can be really helpful as well. The other element is kind of looking at the cultural sensitivities and preferences. If your brand is targeted into a specific geographic and a specific language and all those things, you want to make sure that your content is localized. Unless you're going for a broader reach, then you have to kind of create experiences that are more broad. But usually you will see better ROIs if you customize experiences for each local community, to their language, to their cultural beliefs, and everything else. And then the other important factor is also the genre that you are creating these experiences for. You can have mobile gaming, you can have the console or PC gaming. So with mobile, usually you will have a lot of short and frequent sessions. People are like in between, like commuting, or like usually in the subway you see people on their phones playing mobile games. But there are also gamers that use console or PC, and in those times you see that they spend more time and they're more interested in immersive experiences that are more immersive. And so again, you want to think about, again, what was your goal, what was your audience, what was the story, and again, look for the type of platform, the type of story, the type of genre that matches that. Then you want to also think about how much community and social interactions you want to have. Are you making something that is cooperative, or is it competitive, or is it kind of tied to the social media and the existing forums of the game? And so all of these are very important to think about, because a lot of games are these days multiplayer. And that actually helps because the word of mouth and the interactions that provides a deeper connection with the brand. Like, you can tell your friends or family to join you, and then, you guys talk about it, and, that just makes the impact be deeper. And the other part is about kind of tuning in to what the community wants. And the community means existing players and the influencers and content creators. They sometimes have some of the best recommendations and tips on what you should be building. And so all of this really matters. Now, Philip is going to give us some statistics about ways we can kind of how we're going to go about picking our target audience.
Yeah, I mean, the stereotype of gamers being young, predominantly boys that don't necessarily have a large spending power is kind of long past. I mean, nowadays the average age of gamers is 34, and the gender split is 55% male to 45% females. And also keep in mind that just in mobile, the revenue is surpassed 100 billion at the end of last year. So there's significant opportunity here for brands to engage with users that have the potential to actually purchase your products.
Yes, and you can also customize a lot when you're creating these experiences. So keep that in mind, customizing the assets, customizing the environment, all the ways that you can help the target audience to express themselves is very important. And then you can use that as an opportunity to include your brand narrative and story into those customization of assets that then you can monetize. And same thing with your reward systems. You can tie it to your brand story. And thinking about all of these, and also the genre that you're picking, whether you're going action, sports, adventure, simulation, like all of these are different elements tied to the target audience selection. And there are many different type of stats around also, where are most of the players. So Philip is going to tell us more about different stats around different genres.
Yeah, I mean, so 56% of frequent gamers, they're multiplayer. And of course, so casual games are the most popular, and that's preferred by 63% of gamers. But also, importantly, the massively multiplayer online role-playing games, the MMORPGs, is growing significantly, compounding at a rate of 9%, 10% per year, expected up until about at least until 2026. And what's important to know is that these games, they're socially driven experiences. So it's important. So this trend is great for brands that are looking to leverage creating deep, immersive campaigns that has potential to evolve over time.
So what are some of the examples of MMORPG, Philip?
Well, I mean, back in the day, I mean, the one of the most popular one was like World of Warcraft, and I mean that's still the interesting thing about MMORPGs is that even the old ones, they're still kicking it today. They still have a very large user base. Like World of Warcraft was the big ones, but even more recent ones are still like ranging from flight simulator games to fantasy games. To even like Sims and things like this. That might be a different genre. But yeah, it's the diversity of it is a lot.
Amazing. And so now in terms of what matters within the content, you want to make sure that the theme and the content of your story, of your activation, kind of matches with the existing game story and their audience needs and wants. And you don't want to like necessarily come out as invasive. And so that's very important. And you want to make sure that you are abiding by the community norms, you're contributing positively to the gaming ecosystem. And sometimes, the goals can be also increasing the user base of the gaming platforms, as well as bringing awareness and other KPIs for the brand. So it could be very collaborative partnership to bring attention on both sides and co-create and collaborate. Have your brand audience come to the platform, and then the platform players be introduced to your brand. So Philip, what are some of the statistics in terms of like how gamers are looking at gaming? Like, why do they even play games?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to note that I was surprised with this, but 78% of gamers, it's relationship building is actually an important aspect of it. A lot of their relationships and new friendships were formed through gaming and online community. And for most people, like 90%, it's a form. Gaming is not just a pastime, but it's a source of joy and mental stimulation. And that really is an important factor in promoting emotional and cognitive well-being, and also the opportunity for engagement with brands, right?
Yeah, so we have to keep all of this in mind as we're creating our narrative. And so you want to make sure that you're creating a meaningful engagement, you're adding value to the existing ecosystem, and you're aligning the value systems. And so, the other part is about now specifics of kind of creating alignment. The aesthetic study when you're selecting the platform aesthetics should match somewhat to your brand aesthetics, or at least if you have a different type of brand aesthetics, you want to have the option to customize enough to get it close to your brand aesthetics. So look for these different elements as you're making decisions. Look for what are the community guidelines, how does that translate or align with your existing brand values. You want to make sure those are aligned. So alignment is a very, very important factor if you are going to work with an existing platform. And you want to come out as authentic and resonate with both the player base and with your existing audience. So for doing that, you have to kind of think about how you can merge into what they're already doing. And again, you want to think about your objective and goals to also align with their objectives and goals. And all of this really matters. And you want to make sure that kind of your community fits into their community and vice versa.
Right.
And so we're going to look at different platforms now. So first example is Fortnite. Fortnite is, in terms of technicality, it's a real-time, high-fidelity environment that supports large-scale live events and interactive experiences. They're using Unreal Engine as the game engine, and that can handle complex, dynamic in-game events. And in terms of creativity and creative opportunities, you can create virtual concerts, movie trailers, interactive storytelling experiences, and the fact that the aesthetics can be anywhere from stylized to fully hyper-realistic. This all give us, especially brands that are looking to match to their existing brand aesthetics, it gives a lot of opportunities around that. And in terms of scalability, they have a broad audience that Philip will talk about, and that gives possibilities and opportunity to have a high engagement rate and attract millions of participants. So Philip, what are some of the stats around Fortnite?
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite has over 500 million registered players as of last year. And of those, about 126 million are actively playing at least once a month. And, so of that user base, over 60% falls within the age bracket of 18 to 24. So it does have an appeal to younger audiences that are up and coming in terms of their engagement. Yeah.
So if you are targeting a younger majority, male type of audience, this could be an opportunity. And we will talk about one good example of Nike partnership with Fortnite that kind of matched beautifully, because they had an audience that Nike Jordan brand matched beautifully into the Fortnite existing player base. And so kind of thinking about that really helps, and the type of activations and stories that you want to tell. Now looking at Roblox have become super popular recently. They have a very customizable platform. The aesthetics are not as good as Unreal Engine, but from many users or brands perspective, that is fine as long as they can tap into the audience that they're looking for. And from the user perspective, they can create their own games and experiences. So it's all about user-generated content.
Yes.
And this user-generated content model allows people to express themselves and kind of create some sort of economy off of this. And even though I've heard some not so good comments about the experience that these creators had in Roblox, but I guess in every platform you have challenges, and they're probably working on it. And so within the Roblox, you can create these worlds and experiences and custom assets, and that could align with the brand identity that you have. And you can also create interactive learning experiences and branded games. And so these are all great opportunities to create personalized experiences. So, what are some of the stats around Roblox?
Yeah, I mean, Roblox is no slouch. I mean, they have over 216 million monthly active users as of this year, and of those, 70 million are playing every single day. Their user base is young though, right? So 42% are under the age of 13, and the gender split is 51% male and 44% female. But they're growing steadily. I mean, last year they registered over 2 billion in revenue over the first 3 quarters. And as of now, the developer community has over 40 million different types of experiences available.
Wow. So, the numbers are staggering, and that tells you something. And especially, I think most of these experiences or platforms have grown rapidly after the concept of metaverse. And they opened up more possibilities and flexibility. We forgot to mention that with Fortnite, they didn't even have as much incentives for the users. And we'll get more about the monetization, but they launched first a platform opportunity where you could do affiliate type of monetization, and then as a creator, and then last GDC at the global and the game development conference, they announced that they did the type of island creation where you could also get participated in the 40% of the revenue, if I am not mistaken. And so they are opening up ways for you to get paid as you create and contribute. Chris says, that's all well and good, but is Roblox profitable? I haven't looked into that, but usually the way these platforms work is that, yes, in the beginning they're more focused on growth. Like Facebook, for so long they were not profitable. Many of these tech platforms are focused on growth rather than the profitability, but I understand that could be a measure of success too. So again, it all goes back to what your measure of success is. And talking about the measure of success, I was at the Metaverse Summit last year, which was in LA, and I'm not going to name, but one of the executives of a big brand was talking about on this stage how the night before someone asked her about the KPIs of their activation within Roblox, and she actually kind of got offended because she was like, what are you talking about? You're not looking for KPIs. Well, we will talk more about the KPIs in details, but you can't say you're not looking for KPIs, even if your KPI is not necessarily direct sales or monetization. You are looking for some sort of KPIs. You are looking for brand awareness, increase of engagement within the game and within the story that you're telling, or so many other elements. So it all goes back to that's why I put that as the first step. Before you even want to do anything, define what that KPI is. And to Chris's point, is profitability KPI of an adventure like Roblox, or is the engagement the KPI? And so all of that really defines what we're really working on and how we're making the decisions that we're making.
And I think it's important to note here, I just had this thought, Nico, that the way that Epic is kind of doing it with Fortnite is kind of interesting, because when you look at what I used to play a lot of games before that had different mods and things like this, and I gotta be honest, a lot of mods, they're not good. They're created by people who are amateurs, really.
But let's take a step back. What is a mod?
A mod is a modification to a game that adjusts its gameplay mechanics, right? So it's not just skins or assets and things like this, but it actually changes the way that you interact with the game. And the thing is that by brands, by Epic and companies like this bringing in brands, they're bringing in with them also professional experience, professional creators. Like when we go into talk about Nike, these are people that get paid to create good experiences. So in a way, it's synergizing because it creates an opportunity to create more additional content for the game and increase the platform's potential and generating like really good, you know,
Value added.
value, right?
Yeah, so that's the synergy part that we're talking
Yeah.
about, that you when you are going to partner with these platforms, you should not be just looking at your success, you
Yeah.
should make it collaborative success. And so that's where it matters. And if you want to create your silo experience, then you may not need to worry about that as much. And you will just focus on your existing audience and maybe tap into the player base or the user base that are familiar with this platform. Now let's continue this. So Minecraft is another platform that you may want to consider. It's an open-ended sandbox environment. They have this modding community, like based on what Philip mentioned, that they allow the game's capabilities to go beyond the original features. So that aesthetic of Minecraft is more like sandbox metaverse. And so that has a usually younger audience and younger user base, and they're all about education and community and creativity. And they engage their users over long periods and encourage them for deep interactions. So again, these are helpful to know, and the education is big at Minecraft. They partnered with Museum of London and other type of activities where they're trying to educate the younger generation. So what are some of the stats around Minecraft?
Yeah, I mean, so Minecraft has about 90 million active monthly users, and they brought in, just 360, million last in 22 in terms of revenue. So yeah, so I agree with you. I think Minecraft is a bit more targeted.
And we have Zepeto, which was founded in South Korea. I personally love their aesthetics. I know it's targeted again to younger audience, but it's just fun and cute. And so they are very much around social interactions. It's kind of a social media. It actually, if you try it, it is kind of like TikTok. Like they got a lot of inspirations. I'm not sure which one came first. I haven't looked into that. But Zepeto is very much like TikTok. The difference is that those dances and activations that you do in TikTok with your real self, in Zepeto you're doing it with your avatar. And then you also have features from like Instagram where you could be like taking selfies or images with others. You can tag your other friends on Zepeto and then incorporate them into your kind of picture, and you can go to these virtual worlds and experiences that they have on this mobile app, and with your avatar, and take pictures, create content for that kind of feed that they have that looks like TikTok. And so they're very much focused on avatar customization and world building. I have seen various activations on Zepeto, even Walmart had recently, that is around creating those avatar skins. And so they're very much promoting you to purchase those skins. And because it's a social media. In the social media, you don't want to be wearing the same thing every day. And that is how you are encouraged to keep purchasing accessories and skins. And that is how they make money, and how you can make money by creating these custom assets. So Philip, what are some of the asset statistics around Zepeto?
Yeah, so I just looked it up. So Zepeto, they were founded in 2021. So that's 5 years after TikTok, yeah. But even so they're Asia's #1 metaverse platform. They have 300 million global users, 20 million monthly active users as of 2022, and 95% of its users are coming outside of South Korea.
Wow.
And also it's very active in terms of content creation. So they have over 2.3 billion items that are traded among their users.
User-generated content. Yeah. Yes, that's amazing. And I was actually wondering, does Walmart have a branch in South Korea? Or now we understand because 95% of users are not in South Korea, and so that's interesting. Let's quickly get into the monetization opportunities because we're kind of running out of time. In terms of monetization, in most of these platforms, you can create these in-game assets, from skins to accessories and other assets that you can play with. Within Fortnite specifically, you have these emotes, or that basically dances, that you do. I think they do it after they kill somebody. I don't know exactly, but you have those emotes that you can purchase or monetize. You have battle passes, and then they have again, they have their own limitations, so you want to really read the guideline and understand to what extent you can monetize what. And on Roblox there's a freemium model, so they have a virtual currency, and I think most of this platform, they all have their own virtual currency that they monetize with. So basically they worked hard to create this platform, they create some assets, and some are branded, some are in partnerships, some are user-generated content, but some are from the platform itself. Those that are from the platform itself, they are making money by selling them with that virtual currency value that they put on it. And that's how they make their money. And that's how, also if they do partnerships and make money through their partnerships and activations, again, that encourages sales of more of these items. Again, I'm not sure how each of these platforms do the rev share process, or whether do the rev share process, if they're directly working with the brand. But you can work with agencies and use the creator economy to make money with that. And then within the Minecraft, I heard there's much harder monetization options, but you still have the skins and maps or environments, they call it, to monetize. And within Zepeto, as we talked about, there's this sponsored content and branded virtual goods that you can monetize. Let's quickly talk about a great success story, and that is Nike's partnership with Fortnite. Philip, tell us more.
Yeah. So Nike's aim here was to connect with younger digital savvy audience, right? So they wanted to connect with Fortnite's diverse community and have a culture impact among Gen Z's millennials. So their goal was to elevate brand awareness and have an affinity with the gaming community. So as a way of transcending traditional advertisements. So they did this by doing this activation, the Downtown Drop, by Jordan, which is their sneakers brand.
One of their
sneakers brand. By creating a skateboarding themed engagement. So it
made sense because the audience of Fortnite, which we talked about, 18 to 24 majority male, and they already are very much into some of these activities. They're into skateboarding, they're into sneakers. So it's kind of like culturally made sense. So they're not introducing something that is widely different. So yeah, that was a very good factor about it. What about the success metrics? How did the collaboration come out?
Yeah, so millions of Fortnite players participated in this drop, which of course greatly increased the Nike's awareness in that group. And also they garnered significant media attention just even outside of Fortnite, right, in traditional media. So this really allowed them to tap into Fortnite, not only tap Fortnite's global base, but to actively be more of a presence among this younger
on social media,
right? They're more social media savvy, right?
And then we talked about how they were aligned. They were aligned with the culture and the type of audience. They were. They also created a lot of interactive experiences around this skateboarding culture, and it made sense for all of that. So again, that's a good example of thinking about how you want to integrate within an existing platform. You want to really study what they're doing and kind of weave into what they're existingly liking it. Now, in terms of collaboration, we talked about how it's very important to kind of think about the goals of both sides. You want to think about what is the benefit for both sides, the brand, the platform, and the user base. You want to make sure that also on the promotion side, on both sides, this promotion is happening. So you basically tap into both audiences. And it's helpful to create these type of assets that you're creating to, again, merge into existing game that the platform has if you're using an existing platform. For example, if you are in automotive industry, you have a vehicle that you're promoting, you want to make it playable within the game. And that's how you are kind of including this story, including your branding into what players are already doing. Or, an example of Zapeto we were talking about, if you are creating garment, digital fashion asset, then they're going to be wearing it and create content on Zapeto's feed, and that can go viral on other social medias, and you kind of get a lot of ROIs from that. So again, think about how you can incorporate your brand story and your goals into that specific platform, what they're already doing, what the existing behaviors are. And you want to make sure that you are flexible, like we talked about, because this whole gaming industry is very dynamic. You want to be open to new opportunities that you may not have thought about in the beginning when you drafted your story, when you drafted your target audience and all of that. And you want to be open to be flexible if there's any challenges and modifications are required. So all of those are very important to keep in mind. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go too deep about other steps, but I just want to quickly emphasize a very important factor, which is enhance and not interrupt. If you are going with an existing platform, make sure that you are enhancing their gameplay.
Yes.
You are creating exclusive content or special events that is adding value to them, and they are giving you their attention, their time, so they're getting something out of it. And make sure that you are telling the story that is memorable, tied to the story of the existing game. Yes. And your mini campaigns, your mini games are also kind of enhancing the existing story. And think about co-creation. We have talked deeply about co-creation, how important it is to collaborate, and specifically within the gaming industry and gaming community, tapping into existing creators. There is a broad range of creators that are creating these experiences, these assets, and they're not necessarily brands. They are individuals or groups or studios. And so tapping into those and going to their forums, going to their Discords and social media and asking them, what do you want me to create for you? Like, what would add value? What would make sense if I do? And if I create something kind of similar to a lot of ideas that we had in Web3. And so by creating this collaborative environment, you are kind of giving them an incentive to want to be part of it. So again, learning from what we did on Web3 space, you can kind of create a sense of ownership. When they brainstorm with you, whether it was through a contest or poll or survey, or some sort of activity or decision making that they were part of it, now they have a lot more incentive to be part of the outcome that you created with their ideas, with their collaborations. And that helps you get better engagement, better ROIs as a whole. And be very careful about the boundaries of these games, and respect their existing culture and integrity and experience that they already have, and be constantly listening to what they want and what they communicate with you. because keeping this balance is very important. Keeping the balance that you're respecting their culture and the existing gameplay, and adding value to it rather than just taking value away from it. So that's kind of a high level of brand activations within the gaming platforms. And I hope that was helpful for you guys. I have a lot more to share, but sadly, we don't have much time. I will be working on creating some sort of a playbook or white paper where you guys can have all these steps in front of you as you're planning, whether you are working with the brand or you have your own brand. So I will be talking to a lot of experts, researching more, and capturing this information, as I said, over the next month or so, and going to this biggest conference in the game development space. And I will be sharing those with you guys. So tune in and make sure that you subscribe to our newsletters because we're providing most of this information in those channels. And tune into our show, which we do every Tuesday. We switched the time to earlier as we had requests around it. But yeah, we will be back every week. And the theme of the month is this type of gaming platform. So if you have any more questions, feel free to put it in the comments. We'll make sure to address them. And we will be back next week. Thank you so much for your participation, Philip. Thank you to our amazing audience. And have a beautiful rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Bye.